Hello friends and welcome back. My name is Kallie Branciforte. If you're new here, I think we can all agree on one thing. We would like to use our phones less, but for some reason we can't quite kick the habit, and that's because our phones are very addictive. As Tristan Harris said, he's a former Google product manager who's now known for critiquing big tech companies. He says that checking our phone is kind of like pulling the lever on a slot machine. We pull the lever and see what reward we get. Harris refers to these rewards as things like likes on a Facebook or Instagram post, getting new followers, seeing funny GIFs in a text, getting comments on a post. This pull lever get reward design is embedded in almost all the products on our phone. And so, just like people become addicted to gambling, we have become addicted to our phones. Now, I, like pretty much everyone else, has definitely been guilty of using my phone too much, but over probably the last year, I've tried to really cut back how much I use my phone, particularly since becoming a mom. And so I wanted to share with you the journey that I have taken to be able to use my phone less and how I was able to do it in a way that really works for me. Okay, so the first step is just acknowledging that our phone is not the devil here. In fact, I would argue that phones are actually the opposite. Phones can act as lifelines. They can help us answer questions, connect to other people, build a community, aid in a creative outlet. And I know that personally my phone has acted as a lifeline for me during some of the really hard and isolating moments in motherhood, and it's helped me grow my business. Phones have honestly done a lot to better our lives, and while the product managers and engineers behind a lot of the apps that we use are sort of exploiting our reliability on our phones, it's not our phone's fault. And it's not about completely giving up our phones, it's about finding ways to use our phones in more intentional and mindful ways. Okay, so the next step is facing your usage. Just like with any habit, you need to admit you have a problem first. The best way to do this is to turn on the screen time notification on your phone, and you can get a quick snapshot of how much time you're actually spending on your phone, broken down by apps. The next thing you want to start doing is asking yourself why when you pick up your phone. Now remember, the big thing here is it's not about not using your phone at all. It's just about learning to use it more intentionally. The really easy way to do this is every single time you pick up your phone, ask yourself, what am I picking up oh, well, hello. Look at that. Why am I picking up this phone? Am I checking the ingredients for a recipe I'm cooking? Maybe I'm responding to a really important email. Maybe I'm just picking it up to see how many likes my most recent photo has. Just by simply facing the why every time you pick up your phone, it helps you be a lot more accountable for the reason that you are doing it. This final step to becoming more self-aware is to think about the benefits that you're gonna get. So just like with pretty much everything in life, we're not gonna get too far if we don't have some intrinsic motivation. For me, it came down to two big things. Okay, so my two benefits. One, I'm a better mom when I use my phone less. It's just that simple. I'm more responsive to his needs, I'm more present in the little moments, and he's less fussy because he's not fighting for my attention. Two, I'm more productive. Yes, sometimes I use my phone for productivity, but more often than not it becomes a time suck and it distracts me from what I should really be doing. So find your own benefits. Maybe you want to be more attentive in your relationship, you want to decrease social media use because it's impacting your mental health, you want to be more productive, you want to stop procrastinating. I'm sure you have your own reasons. There's probably a reason you clicked on this video. So just generate what those are for you. Okay, so the next step is to decrease the amount of time that you actually use your phone, and this may be done differently than you think that it is. It's not about limiting your screen time, it's actually about having sacred times and sacred places. So I actually listened to a podcast where clinical psychologist Dr. Katie Penry was interviewed, and I will link more information on her in that interview down below. But she talked about how it's for adults, it's really not about limiting how much screen time you have. Well, the idea of limiting screen time works really great for kids. It doesn't always work for us as adults because we actually use our phones for function. So she said instead to set yourself some sacred times and some sacred places. So these are basically just specific time slots and places where you do not use your phone and you're not allowed to use your phone. And this is a much more attainable and intentional way to decrease your phone usage. And it's gonna work way better than just saying, I only wanna use my phone 1 hour a day. For me, I've started with the following. 1, no phones for the first hour when my son wakes up in the morning or from his nap. 2, no phones the hour before my son goes to bed. And the last one is no phones at meals. Whether we're eating meal at our dining room table or out at a restaurant, no phones are allowed. So once you set these sacred times and places, it's gonna take you a little bit of time to adjust to it, just like with developing any new habit. When I first decided I didn't want to use my phone at all before Miles' bedtime, a few times I occasionally found myself like grabbing the phone. But it's just the process of me like noticing that I was grabbing the phone is gonna help me break that habit, and I almost never really do it anymore. In the morning, I literally leave my phone in the kitchen and I don't even think about using it for that first hour when Miles wakes up. But as you start to do it, you're gonna really start to see the benefits, and when you see those benefits, that's when it really solidifies the habit. So for me, I have noticed that my mornings with Miles are so much smoother since I gave up my phone in the first hour. By simply putting away the phone, I'm more responsive to him and I'm giving him my attention in that first hour, and it just makes the morning start so much better. The mealtime rule I had already had, so it wasn't as hard to adopt. I prefer to be present during mealtime for conversation with my husband. I just don't think it is fair that your family should have to compete for your attention during this like sacred mealtime. And personally, I think that mealtime is a time that everybody should adopt as screen-free. Okay, so the next tip is to decrease the temptation to use your phone. And I have a couple of ways that you can decrease that temptation. Okay, 1, turn off the notifications for your apps. You don't need to be notified every single time somebody likes your photo, trust me. 2, have a do not disturb turn on for dedicated times throughout the day. Do not disturb just means that no notifications are gonna come through your phone. No phone calls, no text messages. And if you're nervous about this, you can have a list of contacts that are on emergency bypass who can still get through if they need you, such as your husband or like your mom or the child care provider, like daycare or whatever. But in general, all the other stuff can wait. This third tip is actually really interesting, and it's to consider turning your phone to grayscale. This is really great if you're super guilty of mindless scrolling through social media apps. So just by simply making your phone less desirable to look at can actually help you kick the habit. So to do this, just type the word grayscale with the type of phone you have into Google to figure out how to do it on your device. And the last tip is to consider opting for a real alarm clock. I think we all use our phones as alarm clocks right now, but if you are guilty of scrolling before bed or scrolling when you first wake up in the morning and it's cutting into your sleeping time or it's preventing you from getting up in the morning, consider like putting your phone charging somewhere else, like in the bathroom or in the kitchen, and having a regular alarm clock next to your bed instead. Okay, so my last tip is one that's actually been super helpful for me, and that is to try to find some alternatives to the things that you use your phone for. So an example of this, obviously like I just talked about, consider having a real alarm clock instead of using your phone as an alarm clock. Other options would be to have like real clocks around your house so that you're not always looking for your phone to figure out what time it is. The next one is to have like a real notepad and pencil hanging around for when you have things that you think of that you need to do or you need to add to your grocery list. Personally, I keep that stuff on my phone because then I have it with me when I'm at the store. But what I do is actually write it down on a piece of paper when it comes to my mind, because for me it comes to my mind like throughout the day while I'm like doing the dishes or I'm playing with Miles. And in the past I would go and get my phone and type those things in, but then you're more likely to get distracted. You're picking up the phone, it's just got the temptation is right there. So instead I write it down on a piece of paper, and then like once a day I'll transfer it over to my phone. Another option is to use a smart TV or smart speaker to listen to your favorite podcasts or music instead of streaming it through your phone. And my last suggestion is to consider using a real camera instead of your phone camera. Now this is like a whole nother topic, but there's this really novel like thing that happens now that we have phones and we can take so many billions of photos that we all have become like we all overtake photos. We're taking so many more photos than we actually need. So another really good tip is, if you're not going to use a real camera, is if you're going to an event or you have a special occasion, is to just think about the photos you really care about getting. Make yourself a little shot list, and then you can stick to just those. So an example would be, say it's your kid's first birthday. You want a picture with the cake, picture with the family, picture of him opening one of his presents, and a picture of like you and him together. So you have the 4 photos that you really want. Take out your phone, get those 4 shots, and then you have the shots that you really wanted, the memories that really matter, and you can put your phone away for the rest of it. So that is my journey of how I was able to decrease my phone usage, and some simple ways that you can do it as well. They've really allowed me to use my phone less, and more importantly, now I'm seeing the benefits of using my phone less. I'm seeing that I don't need it as much. There's also an entire blog post that I'm going going to link below, which really goes through all of the steps and tips to decrease your phone usage, which might be easier for you to reference back to as you're sort of going through this process of trying to use your phone less. If these help you, definitely let me know in the comments down below, or reach out to me on Instagram, shoot me a DM, and let me know you use some of these tips and that they helped you use your phone a little bit less, which I just realized as I said it is a little counterproductive. I'm like, use your phone to tell me that you're using your phone less. You guys, this is why phones are a slippery slope, because we use them and they are a lifeline to communication. And like I said, they're not the devil. It's just about finding ways to use them more intentionally. As always, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you all in my next video.